everybody. Good night. Good morning. You know what? Some days are like that. This morning I was going to post has anybody ever put hand cream on their toothbrush? Just asking for a friend.
No.
So that's how my morning started out. Unlike yesterday morning. Oh, and Julie said her mother did that. Okay, I'm not alone. I did catch it before it was actually in my mouth. But welcome tonight. And I am so excited to have my niece, Jenny Steup, here with me. Hi, Jenny. And this is called the Table is Turned edition, which means that when I got started with doing the Zooms, I made a commitment to myself that I wouldn't just hide behind doing the Zooms. I would also make myself accountable every few weeks. And so this is the week, and the table is turned, meaning Jenny's going to be asking me some questions. I'm going to ask her questions too, but that's how it's going to go tonight. It'll just be very informal, just as all the other weeks. And so I won't get into who I am other than to say that this is nothing official with Bright Line Eating. And it is to have a conversation about real people doing Bright Line Eating, how it's working for them. And I am going to now turn it over to Jenny. And I'll just tell you a little bit about Jenny. Jenny and I are very close, and she lives in another state. She's a school administrator, mom, and of adult kids. Very busy lifestyle, but I will let her take it from here. And she is doing Bright Line Eating. Okay, Jenny.
Yes. Thanks for having me, Aunt Noreen. You were such an inspiration. We hadn't seen people for, a year now. And Aunt Noreen posted a picture in July of before and after. And I was like, what? What are you doing? And there's no way you're getting skinnier than me. So I messengered right away, and I'm like, you look amazing. I need to know what you're doing. And so we just started little conversations, and she's like, read it.
And you had said that you that was in July when I posted that.
Mm-hmm.
And you had said to me that you actually were thinking of doing something seriously during COVID, which began about this time last year. So where were you?
So when COVID hit and the schools started shutting down, I was talking to one of my sisters I talk to all the time, and we were talking about how fat we were going to get during COVID. And we said, we're not going to become the worst versions of ourselves. And so that was March. And then I had been trying things on my own, not really having hardly any success. And then Aunt Noreen posted her picture, and I was like, wow. And then, talked about starting practice for a couple weeks, and then really got started in August.
Which and you got started before your sister.
Yeah, we were all going to start together, but I'm like, I'm going to cheat and try it out a couple weeks earlier because I'm a little competitive. And
not much. I practiced for 3 weeks before I was all in, before I actually put the scale on the counter. So that was how I got started. But yeah, and when you say that about being the best version of yourself, even today, I heard that on average, people who gained weight gained 29 pounds in the past year. And by the looks of our local grocery store, where all the baking supplies were wiped out, I kind of think, I don't know about 29 pounds, but that's just crazy. It was wiped out at our store right on the corner. So I'm glad I wasn't in that number, but I definitely held the line, and we can talk about that later because we did chat the other day.
Yeah.
That was one thing we did talk about, what that meant to us going through COVID.
Yes. So I have some questions for you. You've been a mentor to me off and on, and I really appreciate that. And so what do you like best about your journey with Bright Line Eating?
My journey has been, I wouldn't say peaks and valleys because it's more been on the upswing all the time. I was so fortunate that when my friend Lori introduced me to Bright Line Eating, one thing she told me was to get in the We Eat Bright with Lines group, which at that time, I mean, that was the group that she knew of. It was a private group. I don't think the official Facebook for Bright Line Eating was even up yet. I'm not positive, but that was a game changer for me. I have been dieting for 27 years.
Mhm.
And that's probably the last time I've been to Wonderland, under 200, was in 1994. I specifically know that because your cousin was born that year. And yeah, and it was a battle. And it was like right after that, that I went over the 200 mark and been battling that. But like what Susan says in the book is like all these diets, they leave you to execute. So as far as what has been good, it's been that I haven't had to execute, like I have to think of the plan. It's all laid out for me. But what I'm really finding so gratifying now is really looking at you, Jenny, looking at you and others who I may have introduced Bright Line Eating to, and seeing your success. It actually chokes me up because the thing is, I believe that it's sustainable for you as much as it is for me. I'm not even to goal yet. But I know, I feel with all my heart and based on facts that many of the people here, or at least some of the people here, have had that kind of success, long-term success, a year, 2, 3 years, being able to sustain this. I mean, that was just unbelievable for me.
Well, and I just say thank you, thank you, thank you for all the 27 years, because you don't know when you're going to reach somebody. And I was totally inspired, and I didn't know all your struggle with weight, but I knew that I was like, wow, if you can do that, I'm going to need your help. So I really appreciate
Well, and the thing
you for that.
about the private group, I don't know if you remember, Jenny, and I've just been kind of introducing the Starting Out Bright group to this, but back in 2013, and that's when my sister, your aunt, and my sister and her husband passed away that year in a very bad accident in Haiti. But just before that, I had a spiritual experience that I actually was woken up during the night. And this experience was so intense. It was as if I was battling the devil himself. I hate to say that, but it was so intense that I thought, am I having a stroke or something? I mean, and it was all about my weight. It was so dark. I'm not that person. And to top it off, it was Christmas Eve. I had gone to bed just fine. And this happened during the middle of the night. I got myself out of bed and went to get aspirin because I thought I must be having a stroke. I mean, this was just so intense. And as I went to get the aspirin, I felt this huge spiritual experience that God told me to chronicle my journey. And this was all about the weight. And I thought, what? You know, I went to the computer, and with eyes closed, I just started typing. And that began a very public journey by blog. I wrote over 400 of them. And I didn't consider myself a writer. So I would just like every day that I'm just doing this, that I'm publicly writing this, what's coming on my heart. And I did have a few guest blogs too, but all that to say that why the We Eat Bright with Lines group was so important to me is that I didn't have to write anything. I could if I wanted to, But there were all these people where before here I had this very public journey and I had this very public failure because I lost 50 pounds, but then I gained it back. And I was just like, I cannot do that again. I can't. I just can't do this publicly again. So when I say that, I promised myself that at a year, I would post on my private Facebook page. That was a big, hairy deal for me to post that. I didn't plan to talk about all this tonight, but here we go.
Well,
Anyway,
I think you bring up something. You bring up something about you went through a tragedy
yeah,
and you lost the weight, but when you gained it back, it sounds like that might have been like your solution at the time to maybe
yeah,
what you were going through.
and that's the truth about weight, is that there's a solution to take it off. But is there a solution that we use that it's a solution to put it on? You know, what is it hiding? What is it taking us? You know, I've said this many, many times that it's not just about the weight and it's not just about the food. It's what's underneath. Until that you're ready to deal with that, I think that it will just come back on. You know, I mean, we can go through the mechanics. I mean, again, you can do that. And there's a time period. You don't have to do it overnight. In fact, you know, let's talk about the COVID thing right now then, because that was a big deal. For me, the hold the line, I had just lost 50 pounds at this time last March. And I told myself, I am going to hold the line. I am not going to gain. I'm not going to gain this weight back. You know, I did that once or twice or 5 or 50 times. I've done it. I've done it so many times. I just can't do that. I've just got to hold the line. And for me, I chose at that point, I got an accountability buddy, a really big time accountability buddy. And we did, and it's on the slideshow. I developed a checkoff box, but you can use it with Google Sheets, and I'm happy to share it. All you do is you click the boxes, but instead of just having one box like I was bright today, during COVID, I had like 15 boxes, and it was because I was so stuck. I mean, I could hardly put one foot in front of the other. I was just stuck. I had moved all my equipment from work home to do it remotely. And I work in finance a little bit, so that was just like crazy. And then kids are here doing school. Well, you know all about that, Jenny. And the stress level, you know, was just everybody's going through COVID. And I thought, I just have to put one foot in front of the other. So I'm going to make my bed, click. I'm going to have a bright breakfast, click. I'm going to pray that this is a good day, click. I mean, this was just like every like glass of water, click. It was not like I was bright all day, click. It was like many clicks. And that thing got me through. But I chose, and this is where Susan goes, do your own research. I chose to have popcorn in place of a vegetable. And I know this is a trigger, and I hope it's not too much, but I chose to have popcorn and an NMD twice a week. Everything else was perfectly bright, but I chose to do that. I didn't beat myself up about it. I addressed it that I'm going to have that. And so I weigh myself every day. And so March came, April, May, June. Every single day, I'm checking the boxes. Every single day, I'm weighing myself. And it's the first week of June. And that day, I get on the scale and I realize I'm still at 50 pounds lost. Holy cow, I have held the line.
Yeah.
I have maintained my weight. This was such a huge epiphany for me that at that point, instead of beating myself like, well, you could have, lost a lot more, instead of any of that, I just gave myself grace. But I had this like thought, well, I've never been able to maintain any weight for 3 months. Why don't I just go ahead and lose the rest of the weight? And since those foods aren't triggering me to go out of control within this accountability system, then when I get down there, maybe I'll do that again. But for now, that's not on my plan. For now, I don't do the popcorn and the drink. That's not in my plan at all. It was just such a shift in thinking that this could be sustainable. Again, I don't recommend it to anybody, especially someone who those are trigger foods or a trigger drink, whatever. It could be a soda, it could be an alcoholic drink, whatever it is for you. But I'm just saying that that was my truth. And that's how I held the line. And now I don't do that. I actually saw somebody in the week, Bright with Lines, who said that during COVID, they added a maintenance ad just to hold the line. And I thought, why not? If you're saying, okay, I've lost 50 pounds, I just want to stay here for a little while. I'm going to try this out. I'm going to see how I feel. Maybe it's a way to deal with your emotions as far as getting that far down, even though I know it's recommended lose it fast and then deal with it. But that was just my experience.
Well, and me too. I just wanted to lose the weight as fast as I could so I could get to the pasta level. You know, those video games, you're going to level up, and I just could not wait. That was like the star level. And when I called you, I think in November, my daughter's getting ready to get married, and I have a adult son trying to launch. And I called Aunt Noreen, and I'm like, I'm ready to eat like this whole house. and you shared your hold the line story with me, and it just relieved the pressure. And so just held the line, just like you said. But it is an answer to something. It's a solution to something. And I'm like, the pasta's going to have to wait.
The grain. Well, and that again, I don't want to put that out there like, okay, do what I did. But when the stressor comes, maybe, adding one grain, if you're saying this is going to be my plan, even Susan says, if you're going to add something or take away something, do it consistently. That's your plan. When I did what I did, it was chosen for certain days, and it was not messing with my automaticity, which I feel is the greatest gift this is. I wasn't like doing it all day. It was in place of my vegetable, within an hour of eating. I mean, I had rules around it, and if I was going to mess up those rules, it goes out. But it didn't for me. If it was for somebody else, they may have a horrible time with it. But I just want to be honest about that, because some could say, well, why haven't you lost all your weight? You should be way down. I see others who lose over 100 pounds, in a year and a half. I'm at 20 months. I'm down 65.
That's awesome.
I'm
That's really
I was in
good.
November,
Right. And I think you're saying the same thing. Like somebody just posted in the chat that it's busy tax season for them and they're going to hold the line. And like you said, the automaticity, I had the breakfast and lunch down, automatic, don't have to think about it. And that sustained me. And I got through the holiday season and a wedding and did not gain. And I'm like, okay, I can keep going.
Yeah.
I can keep going.
And I was so proud of you for doing that because you could have so easily gone off the deep end with everything going on. I mean, a wedding during COVID, I mean, come on, that had to be tough. But yeah, so kind of got off track from
So,
your initial question, but there are so many great things that I appreciate about Bright Line Eating.
and I think let's talk a little bit more about this accountability because you've made this sheet and I slowed my weight loss here, but I'm getting ready to get going again. And so I called Aunt Noreen and she's like, I got this tracker and she just shared it with me. I haven't started it. And but that is a wonderful way. But there's other ways to stay accountable. What are some of those?
Well, that's the way that I've been, but I'm doing it a little bit differently now. One, okay, I have two people that I am actually marking all the boxes down. I have one friend who is looking at mine and clicking a box that says I've read it. Now, there are a couple new people who reached out to me and said, I need an accountability buddy. And I'm like, I'm willing to do that with you. Now, I'm being like the person that checks the box that says, I've read yours. So what does that do? And why am I doing that? Why am I taking so many on? And yours is new too. Why am I doing that? I'll tell you why. Because I weigh myself every day, and in the morning, I put that down in one of the squares. That's my first accountability. I've talked with too many people who have said the first thing to go is I quit weighing myself. And I don't care if it's every day, every week, every month. If you're quitting weighing yourself, okay, that is a tool that is going to tell you what's going on. That's one tool. I'm just thinking about this tool, the scale. Like, it used to just drive me crazy, the scale, when I was losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight. Well, yesterday I get up and I know it's going to be a glorious day. Why? Because I'm smelling coffee. Uncle Tom's already making coffee, which is awesome. I haven't overslept. Great, because I'm a night owl, so I'm pushing that. And so I'm thinking, this is the day I'm going to see the plunge on the scale because it's been at least 10 days. I know this is going to be the glorious day that my weight drops like a rock, right? So I get on the scale and it's the same, 205, same weight it's been for at least 10 days. And I was so in this moment of frustration. I don't get this way often. I'm just thinking, what the heck? What is going on? Is it even worth it? Like, all these thoughts are just like coming to me, just rapid motion. And then I think to myself, I could just go the other way. I could go to my old ways. And this thought comes, just boom. If I go to my old ways, I'll go back to my old ways, WEIGHS. And I thought, yeah, I'm not going to do that. It is going to be a glorious day after all. I just realized, truly, if I only lost as much as I did right now, 65, I'm happy. But I am going to trust that it's just going to keep moving. So anyway, I don't know where I'll get you off track, Jenny, one way or another.
Oh, I know you. I know you well.
So anyway, it's the check marks. That's what is my accountability. That has been what I find, and being very involved in the groups. So it was We Write with Lines, but starting out bright. There's newbies, the Bright Line official. There are so many groups. In fact, there's a whole listing of other groups, unofficial groups, in the Starting Out Bright group. So that's in the files. And there's something for everybody. There's even for short people. It's everything. So that was the accountability. I remember one time too, I was going to a family wedding and I heard this thing called bookending where you post. I didn't know what it was at first, but I just like put it out there and I'm like, I'm going to a wedding and I want to stay bright. Is there anybody who could be accountable with me? And I could not believe how kind everyone was. And several people said, I'll be right here when you get back. And, I thought about that. So the accountability, it can be a text message with somebody like, I'm going to a party, I'm going to a restaurant. Check with me.
Those are all great things. And I think before you shared that sheet with me, I could feel like something's coming on. Like maybe it's a very busy week at work, or somebody mentioned their tax season, or we got COVID. And it was, I got on YouTube and found a video, watched one of your presentations, on Facebook, on Zoom, watched one of those just to get it in my subconscious and get it going, and look for Susan Pierce Thompson on YouTube and just kind of get it in that that subconscious to help. But it's almost like it's like playing Monopoly. Just because you're holding the line, or you've messed up at a meal, or done something like that, you're not out of the game. You might have drawn the card like, do not pass go, do not collect 200, but you're still on the board. You still got to roll the dice, and you still got to make your next move.
You're still going to eat. You're still going to eat, and you have a chance to do it brightly. I think it was a few weeks ago, Christy McCammon, I asked her what would she say to people who are just starting, and she said, don't stop. Just never stop. Because once you stop, you stop. And that is the truth. We don't need to stop. There's plenty of great food. And then once you get to maintenance, like you get to maintenance, what, 15, 17 pounds from now, you get to add a grain, and then you get to protein.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. I've only tried one of the recommended pastas one time. It didn't make me feel good at all. So I'm like, nope, we're going to wait till we get to the maintenance, and I'm ready to like make the run again. But I think like the thing you're doing too is like when you're picking up that snack, or you're going to have a drink out on a Friday night when it's not on your plan, you just have to remind yourself that you've made it this far. And I think that was what's so exciting about when I saw you in July. It was just such a moment that, you've made it this far, and, you're here. We're all here. We're all on here tonight. I got a recliner waiting for me in the other room that I just love, but we're all together and seeking each other. And especially like this time with the pandemic where, connections are tough. We have to make more in an effort. We have to learn how to Zoom, and, we're sending Zoom links out to some people right as we've started. Right. But, I work at a school, a Catholic school. And one time I said to the priest, how am I going to get all this done? And he just said, pray for the grace to get your job done, and it'll come to you. And I use that all the time. And you got to give yourself the grace with all of this.
Yeah.
What do you say?
I think that's absolutely true. And what you're saying about the connection, I want to underline that like 10 times. Because in the groups, or like even in the Zooms that we're having, either this one or other people are doing Zooms, I can't even begin to tell you how much that has meant to me. I mean, every day I'm saying Barb's mantra, I am determined to finish the job. I am determined. I am going to do this. And, and I know that other people are cheering for me just as I'm cheering for them. I mean, and it's not like, oh, whatever, she'll gain it all back. It's none of that. Number one, I truly believe it is sustainable. And if you follow the plan, you will lose the weight. If you deviate like what I did, I purposely held the line. I chose to do that. I could have had maintenance ads, but then I got rid of those, and now I'm back on the weight loss. And that, and then I start losing weight again.
Which that's why I'm kind of excited about your tracker, because I haven't been using a tracker. I mean, I still, even though I'm an administrator, I use a teacher plan book and
Yeah,
plan my weeks. I have a personal one I use now.
yeah.
But I'm interested in the tracker because I think it'll show the trends. What am I being really excellent at? Where's an area that I'm doing okay that I might need to pay more attention to? And what's an area that I'm leaving out or not doing well?
Well,
And
there's
so
a second page with this too, and I should say that. The second part of this is not just the bullets. That's how it was last year, but I've added a second page. The second page is I actually write down, and so does the other person. Now that's where we both write. Today I was 100% bright, except, okay, now it's like, okay, one peanut, you have to write it down. That's not 100%. That's a BLT, a bright bite liquor taste, so you have to write it down. That's being accountable. And then there's a part where you just write your thoughts. It could be, I love BLE. It could be anything, or it could be like, I used hand cream for toothpaste. It could be whatever, It could be, this was my lucky day. So anyway, yes.
And I love it because early on I realized that peanut butter was a thing because it's a protein, so it's allowable. So it's going to be my new best friend. And I learned pretty early that I can only get the peanut butter out once a week, because when you're just dipping into that jar with your spoon, it gets on your hand and your arm, and you just want to help it out. It's your friend, and so little things like that I think that tracker can help a lot of people.
Yes.
Okay, so we talked about what are some of the struggles that maybe some of that people you're working with or that you've noticed along the way? What are some of the struggles that people have, like especially just starting out? It's not a very overwhelming plan.
I mean,
it's new.
For myself, I'll just go with myself. A struggle that I'm trying to do better with is getting water in. And I just was not getting water in. Yeah, good job. There's a little box for that. And
we talked about this.
We
talked about this, and she said 2 a day, and I'm only this far, Aunt Noreen.
Wow.
See, like, give yourself some grace. She said 2 a day, and I'm only this far, and it's 8:00.
Oof. Well, I will tell you, I should have known better, because it was before 9/11, so it was 2001. I went on an Alaskan cruise with my sisters. So here are all of us gals. We go on a cruise. Every day is really nice. It's in August. And the days are great, except one day was really dreary. I mean, terrible, rainy, dreary. And I thought, I am going to check out the spa. I go to the spa, walk in. I've never been in a spa before. I've never treated myself to a massage, anything like that. And the first thing that got my attention was on the counter. It says, win a prize. And there's this big fishbowl with names in it. And I'm lucky. Like, I'm really lucky. Like, I win prizes. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to win today? Like, I just win. So I put my name in, and the thing is, the drawing is going to take place that day. And all you got to do is see a short presentation, and then they will pick the winners. So I go to the presentation, and at this point, I think I'm like 240 pounds. Okay. I go to the presentation and I listen to all the stuff about the spa. I learned more stuff about the spa than I wanted to know. I wanted to win a prize. I wanted to win a massage specifically. So anyway, after the spa lady goes through all the stuff, she's like, now it's time for prizes. She picks the first one out of the bowl. It's for a manicure, and it's not me. Okay. Go on. Number 2, pulls out the name, and it is for a like bath salts or something. So it's not me. Go on. Then she picks out the third one and says, Noreen Savage. I'm like, yes, I knew I would win. I knew I would win. What have I won? A 45-minute body fat analysis. I'm like, what? A body fat analysis. That, I say to myself, self, you did not win the top prize. So the spa lady, she takes me to, whatever, this room. And she's got, this is legit. She's got all these electrodes. She's hooking up to my fingers and my toes, pinching me. Anyway, she's very serious, looking at the graphs, looking at me. And she says, you probably think you're overweight. And now at this point, I don't think she can see. What do you mean you think I'm overweight? I'm over 100 pounds overweight, but I'm just playing along. Now she's messing with me. She says, you're not really overweight. And I'm okay. She says, but you are really, really dehydrated. I'm like, really? Like, I had no idea. I just had no idea. So when I went home from that trip, I learned everything I could about water and dehydration. So this is why I'm saying I should know better than this. Like your brain runs on 90% water. You think about a headache, you're probably dehydrated. I think your skin, it's like 60 to 70% water in your body. In fact, I think your muscles are 75% water. It's seriously, it metabolizes your fat, your kidney function. All this stuff is based on water consumption. Like if you start getting dehydrated, your body's going to hang on to that. So this water, I just wanted to bring that up because this has been a struggle. And I know the importance of it. I know that it's something that I really have to do. And the way to, what I've been told by a doctor is if you weigh 200 pounds, you divide that in half, and that's how many ounces you should drink. So I'm 205. So right now I'm going for 96 ounces and hopefully a little bit more, like getting tea in or something. But that's my water. That's my struggle. But I'm so much better since I've been doing it with accountability. And you're going to be doing it too.
Right. And I think had I been doing the tracker, I would have seen that sooner, that I wasn't getting my water in. I work at a really old building. There's no way I'm drinking out of those taps.
Right.
But you can't leave. And so if you don't have your water bottle with you, you're just done. You're going to just have to get through. So the water, that's such a great story. That's such a great story. It just came to
my mind when I was thinking about all of this water I'm tracking. And because I wrote about it in the blog one time, that that blog I wrote, I've been all of a sudden seeing these blog things come up. So I guess once you click on it, you keep seeing them. But anyway, it was a real learning experience, though, about water. It's seriously, I think that it can even lead to a little bit of dementia if you're not drinking enough water. And so none of us need that. We really need to be,
no, not right now.
We really need to be conscious of it, especially if you have extra weight.
Okay, and so you were saying you take your body weight, divide it in half, and that's the ounces you should have per day?
Yes. So doesn't that make sense instead of just saying everybody should have 8 glasses of water? You wouldn't give that to a 4-year-old, but they should have water too. And so somebody who's 300 pounds and somebody who's, 200 pounds, they can have different amounts. And that's the way to gauge it. So bring your
So what
water.
are some of the other challenges that's some of the like people just starting out or starting over or coming off a hold? What are some things to help people get through?
Well,
Like
I
the
think
vegetable thing.
when my friend Lori, I told you that she suggested the We Eat Right with Lines, meaning get community. Do not isolate. Isolation for me, not going to work out well if I isolate, but by even like being a part of the community, I don't care if you post every day or anything like that, but just even click a like, do those things that you are making yourself be part. I think one big struggle is thinking that you're not enough to do it by yourself. And because many people have family situations, myself included. I'm the only one in my household doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to shove it down anybody's throat. And like Uncle Tom Slim, he doesn't need it. He doesn't have a food addiction or a food dependency. I don't really call myself a food addict, but I know that I can be in a very addictive situation with food at times. When I did the susceptibility quiz, it says to base it on, I think, your 3 worst weeks or your worst time. Well, when I go back to there, yeah, but that wasn't like every day now. That doesn't mean I don't want to go back there. I don't want those neuro whatever systems working to do that. And I know that with a really, really stressful situation, I can go back there. But on my average days, no. So the people in the house, I have 5 kids here. I have a son here. They're not doing bright line eating. In fact, they're doing the opposite of bright line eating. So I have to every day realize I am enough. I am enough to do this by myself, for myself. I'm strong enough. I'm smart enough. I have enough friends around me to support me. I am enough. And that's when people think they can't do it, I am enough. And when I was really new into bright line eating, one thing I constantly told myself, it'll just be today. I don't know about tomorrow, but today I'm going to stay bright. And I would often ask myself, a year from now, I wonder what I will say to the Noreen of today. 1 year from now, when I look back of what I was doing, checking those boxes off. When I go back, what will I say? And you know what I say these days? Because now 20 months have passed. I say, thank you. Thank you for trying again. Thank you for not believing that it was too hard to try. Thank you for trusting yourself that this was the way to go. Even if anybody said, oh, sugar and flour, you're not going to ever give that up. That's why I didn't tell people in the beginning. I didn't want to hear that. So those are the
Yeah,
things.
and that's been good. And even like with COVID and people in their houses are not being able to do so much. I think that's been a big part of it. Just reaching out for those connections and
Absolutely.
and
Connection is everything. Absolutely.
so I guess what you're saying is, you've made it this far. You've made it this far. Look, like vaccines are coming out, however you feel about that, or things are opening up, however you feel about that.
Mhm.
But we're in a change again, things are changing, I work at school, so our governor just came out with some news, and they don't notify the schools. So we just everybody hears it on the TV at the same time, and you might not have the TV on. But we're in a change. We're in a constant cycle of change right now. So just buckle up and just keep going. The train's moving on. Just stay in the car.
One thing I would say though, you're talking about the struggle of all this. The real solutions are, besides community, are the practical aspects, and that is planning. Like for me, that's how I got into trouble in the first place, way back when I was slim and I had a store, that. I had a retail store. I never, ever, ever packed breakfast or lunch. I didn't know what I thought. It was just going to magically appear. And we had gourmet food. So it was easy to snack on the high calorie food, the NMF, all the time. And I could have, I paid for it. So I could think that while I'm having cashews, and then there's a Mr. Burger across the street and a bagel shop around the corner. And so it's like, I'm not doing that now. When I go into work, I have my breakfast and lunch packed because I eat a little bit later than before I go in. And that is the game changer. So it's not just connecting, it's actually figuring out what you're going to eat. Like, I don't know if you were here last week when Heather talked about a 2-week planner, or when Shauna Keel Murph talked about having the same thing 5 days in a row, just having them packed. It's almost like a food factory, and you're just like, it's done. It's food neutrality. Every day is going to be great this week, and then next week's a different thing. And that's just amazing. Having enough vegetables in the house. I mean, Uncle Tom cooks, but at the same time, he doesn't always cook for me. He cooks food, and the kids are here, and our son is here. And so I make sure that I have vegetables in the house so that, I have a game plan.
Yeah, and you almost have to have a plan for when you don't have a plan. And so like in my desk drawer is a can of green beans and oatmeal packet, because I can make that in the Keurig on the countertop. But
you have that in your desk drawer?
Yes.
Excellent.
Just in case, the cafeteria is next door, and they serve my favorite meal like twice a month, the pork tenderloin sandwich, which is totally not healthy for anybody. But I got to make sure on pork tenderloin day, I've got the best meal in that lunchbox because it's a temptation.
Yeah.
But the same thing, I made sure I mastered the breakfast. I eat the same breakfast every day because I noticed when I get off on the weekend, I'll just make some eggs or something. No, because I'm back to when I was first reaching in the peanut butter jar, and I'm licking my fingers and I'm trying all the things, and so it's oatmeal, peanut butter, apple pie spice, a banana, and I put water in it so I can have cream and coffee. And those are made up 6 to 7 days ahead, and they're put away, and that's that. And
you don't think about it anymore.
No, now I can wave to my peanut butter BFF. I'm like, hi, peanut butter. I'll see you on Sunday. But when I was holding the line, when I needed to do that for my personal reasons, it was really important. I had that automatic piece, even in a short time. Like, I can't believe how fast I was automatic because I made sure first that breakfast was solid.
Right. Absolutely. Okay.
Also, when I want to get off of this program, or when I think I'm just getting into my thoughts, or I'm tired and I deserve it, and I'm going by 50 fast food joints on the way home, I just say to myself, really, are you eating all this oatmeal for a burger and fries? Like, is it really?
So what you're saying is, I ate all this oatmeal. I want the slim body. I posted a picture of what you said. You're going to buy that outfit.
Yes.
You're going to buy that outfit and you're going to have it as your goal.
Yeah, I want to buy that skirt in size 6 and they're completely sold out. So I'm like, I'm getting that skirt as soon as it's in stock and I'm going to hang it in my closet until it fits. I'll make a big sign, size 6. And I've never had a goal like I need to be a certain size. But
No.
now that I've had some success, I'm like, I just want that.
You
And
know what? That brings up to mind, and I'll just say this very quickly. I was with some friends recently, and one of my friends is very slim, very beautiful inside and out. I've never had any ounce of envy or anything. She's very slim. Normally, if I'm with a bunch of people, I'm more worried about like how sturdy are the chairs, that kind of thing. But anyway, we're in a situation that we're just together, and for the first time, I looked at her and I thought, I think I'm going to wear that size of jeans. And they are slim. And you know what that told me? That told me I'm over a hump. I've been saying week after week I've had a mental block. And that this happened recently, and it tells me that my mind now is over that hump. I'm now reaching, I feel my mind reaching. Maybe it says like Barb says, my friend Barb, like you reach for the end of the stick that you want. What's at the end of the stick? It's that skirt? Is it those jeans? What is it that you want? I want mobility. I want to be able to get on a bike this summer and not fall. Like I tried a few years ago. I thought, oh, I've lost 50 pounds. I'll get on this bike. Well, guess what? At 210 pounds on a bicycle, gravity is not so great. And it will pull you down to the cement. And it was a boom. I want to be able to ride the bike. I want to do that. And so I have to reach, and I see myself reaching now. I see my mind that it is attainable. It's there for me for the taking. I just have to follow the plan. No exceptions. Have a great day every day. Be so bright I need to wear shades.
Right. One of the questions that was in the chat, and thank you everybody who is adding to the chat. I think we answered most of them, but one of them said, since our food intake is so controlled, do you notice yourself having any control issues outside of food? And maybe what do you do about it?
Control issues outside of food, like I think that since I've had success in this area, I am finding that I am having success in other areas. In fact, I put together a Google Doc now for a different part of my life where I'm just, going piece by piece. It's kind of like I'm not looking like all or nothing anymore. Like I'm going to lose all the weight by that wedding. I'm going to lose all that weight by this or that or this, like as if there's a deadline. Now it's like, I'm sure I'm going to lose the weight. I'm going to get there when I get there. I'm going to enjoy every minute of it. And so I think there's been a lot of surrender with that. And maybe that's why I'm at that pace with the control for the person who asked. I feel like I'm like opening myself up and giving myself more grace because I'm really solid in that area now. And now I'm branching off to like declutter things, but it doesn't have to be all in one day. I'm just, taking it a little at a time. And you know what, Jenny, the time is running out. Very close. So we got to stay. We have to stay.
True to time.
Yeah, I like to stay on time. So I'm going to close out. But Jenny, I want to give you, I want to say my heart is overflowing with joy that you are on this journey too. and that you've had such tremendous success. 47 pounds, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Something like that. And that is just so amazing. Do you know what you're doing? And what I hopefully am doing? I hope we're changing our family tree. I hope
Yes.
that as people see us, not maybe hear us, but see us, that we're comfortable being healthy. We're comfortable that doing this, that will be a choice other people make. But do you have any last words?
No, just thank everybody for being here. And if you have questions, reach out to Aunt Noreen, or you could message me too. I can get it to Aunt Noreen. And just remember, just keep going. Give yourself the grace when you need it, and have your backup plan.
Yeah.
And thank you, Aunt Noreen, for your inspiration.
Green beans and
Oatmeal.
oatmeal. So I am going to close as I do each week. Thank you all so much for being here. Jenny, thank you. Good luck to you as you continue. I don't think you even need luck. You've got that grace going with you, and you got your oatmeal.
I got oatmeal. My BFF peanut butter. And I got you.
Yes, you do. So anyway, thank you so much. And everybody, good night. Stay bright and don't let the bed bugs bite. Good night, everybody. Hey, Jenny, would you like to play 3-question Thursday? Okay. First question. What is the first time that you were shocked when you looked in your mirror and saw your reflection during this journey? Tell me about that.
First time I looked in the mirror and saw my reflection.
Or have you been surprised?
I have been surprised because I'm not a big shopper. I don't really like to go to the mall and try a bunch of stuff on. I had to get a dress for the wedding. I wasn't even thinking about it. And my mom called me up. Are you on here, Mom? My mom called me up. She's like, Jenny, we got to go shopping for a dress. And I'm like, okay. And so she's like, I'll pick you up. And so we went to Macy's and we're trying on dresses. And I looked in the mirror in one of those dresses and I'm like, oh my gosh, is that me? I'm like, who is that?
That's awesome.
And you know, when you go to get the dresses, you always go to the big ones and you're like, this will work. You know, your mind is not caught up with your body.
Exactly. It's not. That's very true. Question number 2, do you have a favorite mantra?
I started in March with, we're not going to become the worst versions of ourselves. And then in January, actually, I got it from my cousin, Mary Lou. We're going to rise and shine and shine and shine. And so that's what we did. And then even getting through the wedding when it was getting tough and my daughter would be sad or something would come up, we just kept saying comfort and joy, comfort and joy. And that got us through. So those little things, those little trick things are,
Oh, that is really great. I love that. Okay, 3rd question. This is for all the money. What is your best piece of advice that you either received or one you would want to give?
Well, I have to go back to my priest, Father Jim. He's 75 years old, been a priest a long time. He was our priest when we were little kids. And when I was struggling with just my principal job before COVID hit, you know, just everything to do. And I'm like, how am I going to get this done? And he said, pray for the grace. Pray for the grace to get the job done and you'll receive it. And that's it. I use it all the time. When I'm trying to force it all and do it all, I need to pray for the grace. I need to step back. I need to go hop in the recliner, do some rocking, do some channel surfing, just chill out and let God or somebody or the forces of the world or whatever, just I'm tapping out who's up. That's my advice.
Well, Jenny, I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for being here. You are awesome. And
How are you?
I want to thank you for playing 3-Question Thursday.
Thanks for having me, Aunt Noreen.